All right, we're in now. First, we've got some ambiance, which I don't know if I just have my computer up a little bit louder or something, but it really landed. The ambience really landed today. Um, so yeah, I just kind of want to. I'm kind of doing this just for the record because the last time I did something and didn't have my uh, didn't have my recording software on, I discovered a really cool glitch and it took me a little while to reproduce it. Um, so basically, I don't know. I want to have a look at what on earth is going on with ground pounding that one thing, and see if whatever it is may in some way be generalizable. That's the aim. So yeah, for anyone who doesn't know what I'm referring to, basically I discovered it. Well, let's demonstrate this in full. So I discovered a really weird interaction the other day. Shortcut out this, given that you know we can. I guess I didn't actually need to come all the way over here. I could have demonstrated with an admiral, but anyway. So the bug goes more or less as follows. This is intended behavior for this area. There's actually a little bit of weirdness as to why I kind of do behave like this, but more or less we can just take this as intended. So now I'm going to head to a really specific spot. I don't know what makes this particular spot so interesting. So specific, I mean, it might not be this particular spot. I have never observed this before any other way, any other place. But that doesn't mean that it's never been out there. So, wow. Great. Now I've got those aggros. As long as I fly up high enough, they will get the de-aggroed. Okay. It's the one really annoying part about testing this. Well, on this particular server that doesn't have nav meshes at the moment. Okay, so you saw what the behavior was before. There's no guarantee I'll actually get this first time, or that it will trigger the bug first time, but just gonna maybe try it again. Try it a second time. Let's quickly equip. Yeah. Just gonna give it a go or two. I think that. Oh, I should also. I mean, I've got to like line myself up fairly precisely, which means that like, well, actually, yeah, if it comes down to if it comes down to health, like I wouldn't be making the jump anyway because I'd be being hit regardless. But I might be able to get past. Can I? Yeah, I can. Okay, let's give this jump one more try. Ah, that was more or less perfect. That was really good to kind of demonstrate the little bit of weirdness that goes on there, which I think is responsible for this bug. It was a bad jump, but yeah. No. That's bad. Okay. All right. Now, I mean, I guess I could have demonstrated there, but I'm now conventionally just demonstrating it here because this was where I found it. So I'm now going to do something very similar to what I did before. And we get this. This is a pretty interesting effect. If I can pull this off right. So, well, I mean, you already saw an interesting effect. So basically, something's going wrong with the air movement, and this is resulting in the fact that my character is not behaving the way it did before, and this is... Did I... No, okay. Oh, and I'm running low on storage space. Classic mid-video notification. No, I'm not getting these jumps off fast enough. I need to be even faster than that. So yeah, basically... There we are. Oh, I seem to do even more attacks than I was expecting there. But yeah, basically that's the like somewhat cool bug. And I've received an email. Apologies, you guys are getting lots and lots of noises from my end. It's reminding me about the dinner. I'm going to later. Nice. Okay. It's fine. I've got a dinner with the University Physics Society, which is going to be should be a good time. But yes, so basically, this is a really, really weird bug, because it's permanent. Anyway, I've discussed this on a little bit of detail on a recent video I did. Suffice it to say, I just think this is a really weird and interesting bug, and I really want to look into what on earth is causing it. Because currently, that's not really known. So some interesting stuff with this. This is a really persistent bug. If I, for instance, smash myself and, like, that will get rid of a lot of bugs. Or a lot of bugged states. Like, normally, most of the bugs I find of day-to-day life in LU, they were, like, say, taking spring shoes as your typical example, or spring jumping as a typical example. Still, yeah, surely I've got this. Yeah. I smashed myself again, I guess. Just so I have less imagination, and therefore can get rid of it and just demonstrate spring jumping. So yeah, so for those who don't know, ages ago I discovered spring jumping, which is a glitch that looks a little something like this. It's bad. Not doing very well demoing this. But... It's interesting, those drop downs I still don't understand. They're not very well understood, and they're related to the... They're somehow related to the temporary physics objects which make the bug possible to begin with. So they're related somehow to how you land on them, or something like that. Again, not well understood. This is very much not completely understood, but here you are. You can see infinite height bug we got here. Here we go, lots of cool places. And apologies for anyone who thinks they're getting lots of emails. Apparently, I am just incredibly popular today. But yeah, you can see I'm getting, right up until that moment, getting higher and higher. And so, yeah, the interesting... So there are interesting things, actually, with this particular weapon, is that this particular weapon... Oh. Okay, I'm just going to stop saying things. Previously, this weapon... Oh! Oh, interesting. No, I know what's going on, actually. Let's get some imagination, and I'm going to do the same thing again. Okay, that actually explains one mystery, I think. Yeah, so in that instance, it held me in place. Let's... Oh, wait, no, maybe I'm wrong. Let's just... Okay, try it again. Yeah, okay. So in the case of... Oh, no, I think we know how this works. Yeah, so in the case of Wu's staff, you actually have a stun that is turned on that is ended at the point you land. A lot of other items don't work in the same way, which is the reason we're able to get that kind of delayed ground pound effect and actually do stuff in the middle of it. So the question is there anything interesting I can do with this? The question is also, should I just... Oh, there we are. That's last email was a notification about Frisbee. Okay, let's... I've cleared out my recycling bin, which means we'll have more than enough space to finish this. Because the recycling bin was taken up in part by a 1.5-hour video last night of me playing a game from my childhood and utterly me trying to 100% it and utterly going mad. It's actually literally just the 5 final levels, and that took me over an hour and a half. It's not fun. Anyway, back onto this. So I don't know. I want to take a look at what's going on behind the scenes of this, because I don't know very well what's going on with this bug. At the moment, what we know is that this is breaking the movement. This is breaking the air movement part of the game. And so the question is, can we find anything which somewhat equivalently breaks another part of the game? That's the aim. So firstly, I think it would be a good idea to try and work out what exactly is going wrong with the air movement. What exactly is causing the air movement to break? Because thus far, I've got a way of replicating this, but that doesn't mean I know the actual mechanism which is causing it to break. So let's see if we can work something out. So I do have a little bit of a theory. My theory is that there is something... Well, no, I actually don't have a perfect theory for this. And I don't even have a theory which explains all of the current data we have on it. So my first thought was, oh, okay, we've got that slope, and for whatever reason, the game doesn't want you to stand right at the top of that slope. That slide area. So, okay, that makes sense. I can see why the game might not want me to be able to stand up there. But that's like that's meant to be like a thing which, I don't know, tests your ability to jump quickly or something. But the thing is, putting something right at the top, I don't think the devs were particularly aware you could like ground pound to do precise jumps in the game. Because I know that leads to at least 1 out of bounds, which they didn't patch. And so my initial thought was, yeah, there's something right at the top here, which is doing something weird. Because if I do this, you can see that. But well, sorry, yeah. So just doing this, you can see that. Hey, wait a second. I'm able to remain up here indefinitely. So my first thought was, okay, well, the way I found this originally was I was trying to ground pound right on the top there. And I was trying to see, okay, is it possible? Is it at all feasible for me to make it to the top and ground pound there? And it seems like it should be. And I haven't managed it. And I don't know why this is. Because everything I know about the way ground pounding works and the way sliding works in this game suggests that I really should be able to. We'll also note that quickly that I did just ground pound there, so there's a chance I did just activate the glitch, which I relogged entirely to avoid that. And yes, so I originally thought, okay, maybe they just put a small physics volume at the top, and that physics volume is preventing, that physics volume is pushing me away, and somehow that's generating some weird interaction. But I don't think that can be true. Let's see, did I get the state? I accidentally did get the state. Okay, I need to relog again then. Because basically my question is, can I trigger this state any other way? But yeah, so the really weird thing, so what's happening which confuses me so much is that I ground pound. Oh, why do we have bounce? Okay, there's one bouncer down there. I can't. Okay. Yes. Okay. I just crashed. Don't know what's going on there. We'll log back in. But yeah, so the weird thing that I guess I'm trying to the weird thing that I guess I'm trying to work out is what exactly goes on right at the top? Because basically, if I go off and ground pound anywhere else in the game, any other sharp object, I would have successfully landed on top of it by now. I know how consistent I am. I know how consistent I'm not. But I know roughly how long it should have taken me. And I've done far too many jumps on that thing. And I've never landed on it once. And that feels like it isn't coincidence. Because for those who don't know, ground pounds work using this same air movement thing. They work using the same air movement thing, which is what's then going wrong over here. Yeah, so we can see I ground pounded, slid off of something. What? Okay, that may have just changed things. Did I just... I think I'm remembering correctly. Let me get the time of this. That was about 16 minutes in. Okay. I seem to have gone the same bug there. That's interesting, because if that's the case, that suggests that really what's happening is that rather than setting some kind of state, which we didn't previously have, I'm instead... It's almost like something related to lag, maybe? Yeah, there we are. Okay, so it is doable. So it's almost like going up there has made something that would have been possible normally. Okay, this is... Getting that seems to be correlated with jumping, like, precisely on the edge of the boundary. Okay, that suggests it may be related. Okay, that suggests something might be related to in another test we can do. So let's begin this quickly. This suggests that it might be more related than I had thought to quick build double ground pounds, which were a buggy state I discovered ages ago of ground pounds. So I'm going to get myself into this bugged mode. And I'm going to try for a quick build ground pound like this. Okay. Let's just go away. Okay, something quite weird just happened there, I think. Actually, that's kind of funny. Oh, that's funny. That's also really interesting. Okay, that's unrelated, but that's... I wasn't expecting to do anything regarding this today, but that helps me... That interaction there helps me test a theory I had ages ago about a very strange incident in live, which Zealot told me about. Okay, so basically, the question is why am I doing that? It's like that. So is there a better bouncer I could be using? I don't really think there is. What I really should just do is get the GM hammer out. Well, on the upside, we know we entered the state properly. Okay. So entering that state properly did not make it any easier to achieve the standard ground pound weirdness. Let's get these guys to attack me down here. Did I achieve it there, or was I slightly too late? So yeah, it's possible to do a jump. I don't know if it's frame perfect or what. It's possible to do some sort of jump onto that. It is a pretty tight timing. to ground pound correctly. But you can ground pound onto this, and if you do that with precisely the right timing, that is the only other time in the game I've seen a bug which like delays your ground pound landing. Don't actually know what happened there. That was quite interesting. So, yeah, there's also a bug which Zeop referenced having occurred to him once in live, which I've never gotten close to replicating. I've never even seen any hints that it might be possible, which involves somehow him getting seriously flung by something on the monument. No idea of what may have caused it. Doesn't remember anything about it because obviously it was live. But he apparently hit a bouncer and just went absolutely flying. Which is something we've never been able to reproduce or find any information about whatsoever. Believe me, I've looked. Okay, so I'm not getting anything interesting out of that. Which in and of itself is not uninteresting. No. Wow, that was... I didn't even try and time that, apparently. And I just further... So, yeah, other places you can get it aside from with... you can get the, like, the extra attack bug. Aside from on the... Or aside from on the... aside from the parrots is anything where... any attack which knocks you back a significant distance. I think it's just which knocks you back in general. Which is... yeah. So we've got a couple of, like, somewhat unique things going on. So, okay, I activated the state. Haven't really got anything interesting. So, might, again, relog. So the question is there anywhere else I can attempt to do a ground pound where I get a similar effect of me being unable to ground pound? Me landing the ground pound but being unable to. So there are... well, it's more specific than that. It's places where I should be able to land a ground pound, but for some reason I can't. Which maybe is actually important to what's going on. Oh, and we're getting a repeatable crash on relog. I wonder if that's due to my character not having properly locked out or something. Okay, so we know quite interesting. So, okay, there are a couple of things which we discovered on that last one. One of them was the fact that, wait a second, it's actually possible to... it's possible to pull off exactly the same bug without this effect. Without... it's possible to pull out exactly the same, like, double ground pound thing without entering the state, which makes it easier. That's really interesting, because, I mean, for starters, the fact that I was able to do that suggests it's probably possible to get that bug off of any knockback enemy attack, which is a huge number of attacks in the game. That makes this applicable in quite a few extra worlds. Like Forbidden Valley, I think, for instance, it isn't applicable on, but I think it's quite a lot of worlds this does become plausible on. Okay. So the question is, where else can I ground pound? The issue is I can find lots of places where I can ground pound. I will hit it, and I will then slide off instantly. Like that, for instance. But if I go over here and test it, that's not gonna... I'm fairly certain this doesn't give me the bug. Yeah. So where else could I go? So there's the question of, is it something to do with terrain friction, which is going on here? Is that in any way related to what's causing the problem? If so, I think I know we can get terrain with a different friction value. There's nothing else in this world. In fact, there's nothing else in most worlds aside from we're talking like Frostburn and Jargo, where you can get a bug, where you can find something which has like specifically lower friction than the average or default friction. However, it is possible to find places which have higher friction. And this is one of them. No, this is. Does this have lower friction? Or the same? That feels like this is lower friction. So who's that there? Brick knife, cool. Okay, so this feels like this has icy friction. Okay, so normally in the game these things have higher friction. What about the edge here? Okay, the edge, technically part of the same object. So it's the same friction, okay. That's interesting. So that seems like more or less an exhibition of a similar effect. In other words, that was something I could ground pound onto, but that I slipped off. I need to check exactly... Okay, there are a couple of things which could go on there. But let's see whether or not that gave me any form of glitch. So I can also test it with these guys as I mentioned. Let's bait and then... No. Okay, so that did not give me any form of glitch. That's fine, because there are a couple of things which occurred differently there. So, what happens if I, for instance, go up? It's going to force me to relog, and it's going to cause another crash, isn't it? That's annoying. If I go off here, I ground pound, what happens? I hit it and I instantly slip off. Okay, so firstly, this tells me something really important, which is that on things with lower friction values, the standard ground pounding technique doesn't work, which is interesting. So the question is, does this put you... It shouldn't put you into the sliding state. This might be where we're getting a little bit of weirdness, or the sliding state. So, so I'm actually just going to do this a few times, just to see what happens. Now I'm going to go back, because if we can confirm this is solely related to the friction of the terrain, then that is something of a breakthrough. Because yeah. That means there's no, like, interesting thing up there which is causing some weird additional problem. Okay, that didn't work, but this will. Okay, where can I just aggro someone? No, waited too late because I didn't get the animation. Okay, I did not get the bug there. It's just... Well, I mean, there's no point really double checking because I know I didn't get it. Yeah, okay. Okay, so I have a few theories about what might be going on there. So firstly, note that we are remaining in control of our character, even though we are naturally sliding down due to gravity. That's pretty huge. Like, normally I just assumed... I assumed a lot about the sliding state in the game. And this kind of proves some of those assumptions wrong. or rather, it says there are multiple effects going on. So really, it appears the sliding/falling states are actually far more equivalent than I gave them credit for originally, which actually kind of unifies a lot of what I've been thinking about. Okay, so that's really interesting. So the fact that that sliding and being unable to jump are two actually very, very disconnected things. That's odd. Okay, but that's good. So this completely confirms. This completely confirms what's going on with the sliding. So all with that this confirms there's no extra physics going on off there. Question still remains: what on earth is causing the glitch? And it's kind of hard to answer that question for certain. Repeatedly jumping shouldn't make a difference, but it's just worth testing. So what is it that's different from there than from here, given that we now know, basically, both of them are just working using friction? What's different between the two sides? The one thing that springs to mind is the time it takes me to fall off, but the thing is, I've gotten some things like this one, where I've clipped the edge, slid off basically instantly, and I had those previously, but they didn't trigger the glitch. So it's definitely not that in and of itself. Just going to go up and above because that feels faster. And I'm going to actually go over here just to test. So it could be that if this is like a scalar value that is slowly being adjusted, rather than potentially some like single thing, like waiting and causing lag for waiting for something else and causing lag, then it could be that this is just giving me a much, much smaller effect. I think, okay. I'm fairly certain that wasn't it. Yeah, despite the fact it looked sort of like it, there are at least 3 different bugs I know you can get in the same area. Or at least 3 different behaviors I can get on this depending exactly when I do everything. But that's the bug we're looking for, and so that's still not being triggered. Which, okay, that's that's good to know. So right, there's a certain... So friction here actually appears to be implemented similarly to how it is, to how it works in real life, which is nice for me. So past a certain angle. So okay, so what's kind of changed here? We know that past a certain angle, your character doesn't. You lose the ability to jump with your character. So certain things count as ground. Things angled past a certain point do not count as ground, so you lose the ability to jump. Once you hit them, you don't count as standing on them. This is disconnected, or it seems that there's then some threshold friction. If you're beneath that threshold, or for any given angle and for any given frictional coefficient, there's a certain angle path, and you can determine whether or not you will move or the exact amount of force. If you're beneath some threshold angle, and this like actually is a thing in physics, if you're beneath some threshold angle, then what happens is that, so if you're on a very shallow slope, then, and that slope is shallower than this threshold, then you don't experience any friction. Normally, like you're very rarely in a place which is steep enough that you lose the ability to jump and that you'd be moving slowly. That doesn't 100% add up, actually. But basically, yeah, we're dealing with thresholds here. We're dealing with like a threshold level of friction. If you get on something that's precisely the right angle and is lower than that threshold, then you'll always slip off over time, which is weird. That's not something I knew was a thing in LU, which is interesting. It suggests some interesting stuff about potentially about sliding off of higher friction things. There may also be the fact that the game, like, so that you have two separate, like, things of friction, which actually I guess would possibly make the most sense. Or not the most sense, but might be what's done, which is there's one related to... there's one basically for whether or not you are in the... Or more importantly, I think it may be that when you're in the falling state, you experience no friction, which is interesting, but not hugely helpful. So okay, but that brings us back to what is so special about the top of this, which makes this work exactly the way it does. For anyone wondering, you can get this same effect. I always go up here because, like, you can't really land on this very easily, and if I go too far, if I go down and use that launch pad to get up here, then I aggro those admirals. But yeah, you can also get the same thing, and I'm not going to do it here, but you can get the same thing just because I have to relog if I do it here. You get the same thing from ground pounding right, like coming up from this way, so it's not like it's related to me being off to the side and getting something related to that. It's unrelated. Let's see if I can ground pound and see what happens if I just manage to land on the top. So I don't try ground pounding, but I do manage to get, like, in the right position. Does anything interesting happen there? Again, I'm expecting no, but I didn't expect this effect to exist to begin with, so yeah, no interesting effect. Despite the fact that I slid off the way I did. Which, again, it's good to know, but it doesn't explain this. It doesn't explain exactly what's going on or help me, like, replicate this elsewhere. So it seems to be related. Oh! Maybe it's related to the fact that... the thing is that shouldn't... Okay, wait a second. What precisely happens? I'm going to do this again. I know I'm going to have to relog afterwards. Yeah, so I do that. I notably observe two separate... I guess I might as well wait for these guys. Test. There we are. Demonstrated. Got it there. So, okay, one difference that I'm noting is that we observe two separate smashing effects. So yeah, the thought is maybe you are entering and leaving the standing state way too quickly. The thing is, we know that in and of itself isn't the case, because here, I also enter and leave the standing state really quickly. I've got to line myself up like this. And the issue is I just don't have anywhere that's high enough. So, okay, what I could do is... do we... Oh, yeah, this is Ninjago. We've got loads of enemies that knock you back. Most Ninjago attacks do? Oh, do they actually knock you... I don't remember off the top of my head. I may have to just spawn in an Admiral if I have to. Ah, well, that's fine. And I also need to be aware that I need to start heading off soon. Oh, I should also, yes, I need to LFT. Okay, so I'm going to test. I'm going to get, test this out very quickly. Yeah. I went through here because I thought it would be faster. I also might not have... I don't know if I've been here. Yes, on this account, so I may have to sit through that cutscene. This way. So this is the most obvious place I can think of in the game where we have different friction values. And as a kid, I found this one so difficult. Here we are. Like, actually, this is the perfect example. Look at this. Okay, that's maybe not. But you can, like, barely be moving and still slide on these. Yeah, there we are. That's, like, look at how like, flat that slope is. And I managed to slide off of that there, despite ground pounding. So if this is precisely due to the slope, then what I want to do is I want to find, or due to the slope and slash or fall, what I want to do is get something like this. And that should, unless it's something very specific about the angle the other place is at, that should be more or less equivalent. And we should be able to find enough angles and enough geometries to make this work anyway. Okay. I don't slip off of this if I ground pound here. That's good to know. So now I need to quickly get the idea. Oh, it's 10,017, is it? For Admiral? I used to know that one off the top of my head. 15. No. Oh, it was, but okay, but anyway. I'm distracting myself now. Stroming Admiral, Gnarled Forest. Let's go. Here. Okay. Just gonna drop one down. And then obviously run away very quickly. Okay, so in theory, I did something which looked equivalent to what I pulled off over there. So let's. Okay. Oh wait. Okay, this is weird. I'm getting seemingly another new effect. Oops. Didn't mean to do that. I'm trying to get this to work. So that's weird. This is just cancelling it altogether. Let's just double check I'm able to move afterwards. Okay, I didn't mean to do that, but. I mean, I guess it entirely cancelling the ground pound does make sense. Okay, no, so that didn't trigger the same effect. And now that guy's just going to keep chasing me, isn't he? Yeah, okay, I should have thought that one through. But. So we've got an area which also has incredibly, incredibly low friction. Does not trigger the same effect. Also, let's just demonstrate that I can't. There's no position on this that I can stand where I won't slip off eventually. There we are. Okay, so that's good to know. So we know a little bit more. We know that it is literally just the friction of the things which is causing this weirdness. But these aren't for whatever reason these aren't working. Like it could be that for some reason it needs to be a lot steeper, but it should be like the length of time it takes me to fall off. Yeah, how steep it is shouldn't make a difference. But anyway, I need to LFT up right now and then get ready to go. So thank you all very much for watching. I've been NinjaValU. I'm a very confused NinjaValU, but I hope this was somewhat not unenjoyable. Anyway, thank you for that, and I will see you around. Bye.